Nahani Bhutani Gachanti Yama Mandiram Shesha Stavram Ichanti Kimas Charja Tapanam. What is more ascharja? What is more astonishing, more wonderful than this? Or Sridhar Maharshi said once, we are all rushing into the jaws of death. That is the news. And it's, that's what should be in our mind, in the sense that let's not waste our time. Let's not waste our time. Time is precious. Time is precious and short. So let us remember this limited slot of the human birth, limited opening of the human birth that we have, and let's use it to our best advantage. Nirdeham adyam sulabam sudorlabam plavam sukalpam guru karnadadam mayana kulyena nabasvateri pumam bhavabdim nabhavet saatmaha. This is one of the principal verses in Bhagavatam, which is emphasizing this point, and it's very nice. Gurudev liked this verse. It compares the human body to a boat, and Guru Karnadadam. Guru is the captain of that ship. And the wind, the favorable winds, are the words of the Lord in the scriptures, which are helping us to go in the right direction. Is it Nudeham Adyam Sulabam Sudorlam Plavam Sukalpam Karnadai? And one who does not, take advantage of this rare opportunity, they are suicidal. It is a suicidal thing. So we are very fortunate just to have been given this. We've got like a bit of a head start, right? We got the inside news. Not everybody's aware of this news, but we have an advantage. So we must use that, take that opportunity. Someone's giving us an advantage, and we must use that, take that. And welcome to Chintamani Devi, and also Lynn is with us again. I did have a question, but does anyone present have something that they would like to be discussed today? Let me see here.
I have a question.
Oh, yes, please. Rasaraj Prabhu. Always has very thoughtful points for contemplation.
I want to know your opinion about this. I see that some devotees, they say, for example, they have a poster of Nrsimhadev, and they say that when the devotees are in a very bad situation, in danger, they pray to the fiercest form of the Lord to get protection. But I see at the same time that we accept that everything came from providence, and we have to accept that everything good or bad is coming in that way. So my question is, I see that the body have both sides. One, trying to get protection. Others say, well, whatever comes to me is for my karma or my sukriti or whatever it is. So what actually is both sides are okay? Both sides are right? Which side should be the vision that the Guru should give it to us?
One thing that Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he said once, actually he would use this expression sometimes of a pocket. He would use that analogy sometimes of a pocket. But one way you heard him use it once, he was saying how, persons may have different ways and styles of of practicing Krishna consciousness. And he said, but they're all going into the pocket of Krishna consciousness. And someone, not all practitioners may practice perfectly. Some may go one way, some may go another way, and may not always be perfect, but it is all, may not always be according to the highest standard, but it is all going into the pocket of Krishna consciousness, he said. And so, there's one, actually it's funny this comes up because we think there's a ghost here, in this place. And we spent the whole day talking about this, because one of the devotees was disturbed here last night. But there's this one talk of Srila Sridhar Maharaj where he's talking all about ghosts and telling different stories and how, like through the Vaishnavas chanting and their purity, ghosts left. And but anyway, one thing that he mentioned in there, it struck me as in this talk, he said that that we can use that to actually help our Krishna consciousness. And he said that fear that we may feel, we can use that to take shelter of the Lord. And he said it can, because it is human nature, right? When we're in trouble, then we remember more, right? So he was saying, we can use that feeling to take shelter of the Lord. Oh Lord, please protect me. Please protect me. Of course, it is a higher thing to always be feeling the need of the Lord's protection, and not because of necessarily physical circumstance. Really, on a more subtle plane, we want to be protected from our anarthas, right? We want to be protected from Maya. We want our desire, to be protected. We want to be protected from our own material desire, right? This is a higher prayer. But at the same time, we cannot deny that we are conditioned souls and we may have fears in this world for various things. And so if we use that, if we channel that in that spirit, oh Lord, please protect me, then that will be good for us, right? It is anything that's helping us to remember Krishna is good. There's that line in, I think, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Yena Tena Prakadena Manasa Krishna Ishe Dayat, saying that, by any means possible. Some Swami Maharaj translates it sometimes as by hook or by crook. By any means. Oh, okay. Thank you. By any means possible, remember Krishna. Fix your mind on Krishna. By any means possible. So we're feeling afraid, of something, then we can pray to the Lord. Please protect me, my Lord. Please protect me from this ghost or whatever it may be. So yes, it is not the highest prayer, you're right, but from where we are, it's an upgrade, right? It's a link. It is a link towards the Lord. That's one of the points about bhakti, right? That makes it very inclusive. That it is like karma mishra bhakti, you could say, right? That it's mixing our worldly needs, with some mood of spirit of devotion towards the Lord. So it may not be, it's not Shuddha bhakti, but there's some mixture. It's mishra, it's mixed. But that is a starting point, right? We cannot expect to start on a totally pure platform. We cannot deny that we have these things inside of us, right? So we may as well My mother told me this story recently of one devotee. Who were they? They were praying, I think, to Hanuman. They were chanting, I think it was Hanuman. They were chanting a Hanuman prayer. It was also something like ghosts, and they were praying to Hanuman. And our Gurudev happened to hear, and he said something like, "Don't disturb him. Don't disturb him with that. Don't disturb him with that." Oh, there may be different moods. There may be different moods that come. But from what I experienced and I heard from Gurudev, anything that motivates us to approach the Lord is good. It's also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says there are three kinds of people who approach me. Arta, Artatika, Jigyasa, Jnani. Those who are suffering, those who are seeking after wealth, four kinds of persons: those seeking after wealth, those who are curious, and those who are enlightened. So, and he says, he says the jnani, the enlightened person, the person in search of true knowledge, they are the best, but all of these persons are sukritivan. They are all fortunate souls, and they are all dear to me. So that is generally that's the approach that the whole of the Vedas takes, right? Like, start from where you are and move from there, right? And gradually, you can go to a higher position. But then if you're also asking, then what is the highest prayer? I would say that, it is true what you said, that everything is coming by the Lord's will. But then if we take that mood too passive, that mood can make us overly passive, right? And this is actually an interesting point of discussion, which has come up over the years. There's this famous verse, this verse, right? Tate nukampam susamiksham. You're familiar with this verse, Prabhu, right? And this, right? So that verse is advising that we will, silently and happily endure the results of our own karma, right? That we will not make any complaint against the environment, that we will tolerate what comes, and with the spirit of seeing the Lord's mercy behind everything, right? This is generally what is advised. We will see that the environment is all good, is all favorable, and we have no complaints. We will see that we are responsible. That is, so that side is there. But at the same time, if we just apply that principle in like a blanket way over everything, it can start to take us in a bit of an impersonalist direction. So like for example, Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, what does humility mean? Humility means that I am the servant of a Vaishnava. So, and sometimes in service to the Vaishnava, we may need to show some apparently aggressive, stance, right? If someone's going to beat my father, then will I just sit passively by and say, oh, the environment is perfect, everything is perfect? No, then we have to take some action. And similarly, when it comes to, we are by nature persons of feeling, and to pray for shelter, it is a very natural thing. But the way in which the prayer will be made, then maybe that could be, maybe our prayer can be, please take care of me, my Lord Gurudev, as you see fit, as you see fit. We may not attach, if we are trying to consider what is the purest prayer, then we may not attach specific conditions, right? Like, oh, please give me this, or please provide me with this particular circumstance or resource or whatever, but please keep me under your lotus feet, please keep me in your care, in your shelter, whatever that may be, right? Maybe we have to go through that. Maybe that difficult circumstance has come to actually help us, right? We are resisting it, but it actually came to help us. So, in other words, what we consider to be unfavorable may actually be favorable. We cannot be sure that we have the proper eyes to see. So a more perfect prayer may be, oh, my Lord, please, I'm facing this difficult circumstance, please give me the vision to perceive it properly. Please give me the strength to face it properly with spiritual vision and, spiritual activity, spiritual behavior. Please, the proper way to respond and to see, to deal with the situation. Please give me that, That is, to me, that is a, if we look through Prapana Jivanamrita, there are so many prayers for shelter like that. And these things that come, they can accentuate that need within us, right? In that way, they are our friends. We come to perceive our own helplessness more, right? If we are facing some challenging circumstance, or we're experiencing our own weakness in some way, then that can highlight our relationship of dependence upon the Lord, and motivate us to seek the Lord's shelter. But what shelter it is we are seeking, that is what will make it one side or the other, right? One side will make it bhakti, the other side will make it karma. Like, what is it that are we praying for, protection from, some particular material circumstance, or are we praying for protection from Maya? That is the question, right? So those are my thoughts. And, as to who we are praying for, generally we are praying to Guru, Gauranga, Vaishnava. I know, anyway, I won't say anymore. I don't want to get into a controversy. Anyone. But, generally we are praying to Guru, Gauranga, the Vaishnavas, we get everything from there. And, Nishinga Dev, he is the way that our Srila Sridhar Maharaj, there is some emphasis put on Nishinga Dev. And why? Because he's the remover of obstacles on the path of devotion. So what are those obstacles? That's not in the world of material loss and gain, right? But what are on a more subtle plane, what are the obstacles? Gurudev once was mentioning, Nishingadev is the remover of obstacles, and we have so many obstacles on the path of devotion. And then he said, like Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, Matsarja, right? These are the real obstacles: lust, anger, greed. So sometimes there may be a prayer to Nishingadev for that, but our emphasis is on Guru, Gauranga, Radha, and Krishna. This is more our line. But if someone has some particular attraction to, Nishingadev, then that's okay. But I mean, it's a little bit of an anomaly that his worship is overemphasized in some circles, we can say, but it's a little bit of an anomaly. But I'll stop there. Would you have any further comments, Prabhu?
No, I think it's a very clear. The only thing I see that devotees have different opinions. Sometimes they go more in looking for help. Others say, well, that's what I deserve, or that's coming to me for some reason. But it depends on the person will see it. No? But that is true, no? Like different devotees have different opinion, different point of view.
Wait, can you say that again?
That maybe in the same situation, one devotee acting one way, another devotee acting in a different way. That's what I say. They don't go to the same channel. Some devotees look for more for some special protection. Like for example, I see many devotees, they wear kavacha, like something in the body, or some rings with some stones that is for protection for some things. All the devotees, they don't wear anything at all. So that's what I say, depends. Some people, they sing a different way.
Well, I mean, differences, but there's also some gradation, right? You know, that point is also to be made. That, you know, we also, but I mean, you understand that point, you know? Yeah, I mean, you know, what can I say? You know, we need to understand the value of what our gurus have given, and you know, we may in the background a little bit, you know, deal with some, you know, things for our material life, you know, like things like astrology or crystals, right, or things like that. You know, maybe sometimes devotees will deal with these things, and that's okay, but the danger is when these things get too mixed up with our devotional practice. That's the danger. You know, like if those things are kind of going on in the background a little bit, you know, just to support our material welfare, then that's okay. You know, another thing we have to remember is that, you know, the ideal that is given by our gurus is very, very high, you know, and if we are living up to that, then we will not need anything. You know, Shukadev Goswami didn't need to wear clothes. Everything depends on consciousness. You know, there would be no need to take any medicine. You know, we are told you can get everything through the chanting of the holy name. And that's absolutely true. But are we living on that platform of faith, right? If we are living on that platform of faith that we can get everything through devotion, then literally we can get everything through devotion. And that will be true for us as long as according to how much faith we have in it. According to how much faith we have and are living out in that principle, right? Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sujada Nishoy Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That through Krishna Bhakti, through devotion to Krishna, we can get everything. As much as we have faith in that, and as much as we are living that out, so much it will be a reality in our lives. Because it all depends on our own consciousness. So if we have full faith in the holy name, then we won't need anything else. But as long as we don't have that faith, then we need to, you know, be a little practical, you know, get health insurance and all these things, right? You know, get an education, get a job, you know, all these things. You know? And we can also imitate that higher plane of faith. That is a foolish thing to do. You know, sometimes what happens with practitioners, it's like they've kind of got their hands in both pockets. They want to play both games, right? You know, like, for example, they have a family and then they decide, oh, I'm detached from my family. I'm giving up my family. I'm going to go join the temple. Well, you just had 5 kids. Like, you should have decided that before. Like, now you need to take responsibility. Like, oh no, now I've decided I'm enlightened. I'm liberated. I don't need to. That's an artificial thing, right? Like, be real about it. You know?
This is Ross.
Oh, hello. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Just in the middle of a Zoom meeting. Okay. You're welcome to sit in.
Okay.
So, you know, it's like whatever we do, we need to be real about it. You know, like if you're going to be detached and renounced, that's beautiful, but it should be real. You know, if you side by side want to do the other path, then, you know, what is that? That's not a real thing. So we have to have some clarity about what our position is, you know, where our position is in Krishna consciousness, and proceed from there. And then that means we need to take care of our bodies, take care of our health, and all these things. So then, you know, in light of that, then in the background, we may, you know, do things like some of these, you know, people wearing kavachas and all these things, you know, and crystals and astrology. Like, that's just kind of like part of, you know, oiling the machine. Like, that's how I see it. Like, but that perspective should be there. You know, that's part of oiling the machine, keeping the car running, right? But then what is Krishna consciousness? Like, what are, you know, like for example, here's a good example, a very funny example, and this is in Ireland. There were these 2 Irish disciples, simple-hearted disciples. They took initiation from our Guru Dev, and this is like back in the early 90s. And then 6 months after they'd received initiation, they sent a letter to our Guru Dev, and they said, you know, we've been initiated by you for 6 months, and we still haven't been able to have a child. They blamed Gurudev, you know, like you're supposed to be a great guru, and you know, you should be able, you know, to help us have a child, you know. And you know, and in one level, I can appreciate that, because it's showing a level of faith, a simple faith in Guru, right? That Guru can give us everything. That's one type of faith. Oh, Hare Krishna. You know, that's showing a level of faith, which is appreciable to some extent, right? And our Guru Dev, you know, he took it in a very, you know, sweet mood. You know, I heard he chuckled when he received the letter, and you know what our Guru Dev did? He prescribed them a homeopathic remedy, and they had twins. They'd been trying a long time to have children and they couldn't. And then Guru Dev prescribed this remedy and they had twins. So the point I'm making is, like, who is Guru? Who is Srila Govinda Maharaj? Who is the Vaishnava? What are they here to give us? They're not here to solve our material problems. You know, what is the prospect of the soul? What is the prospect of the eternal soul, the Atma, you know, in awakening their eternal relationship with Krishna in the divine plane? You know, our gurus want to take us to Goloka Vrindavan. You know, what does that mean? You know, let's try and get at least some touch of a feeling about what that means, and how far away, how far removed that is from our little tiny circumstances in this tiny world, tiny egocentric world that we're living in, right? Let's try to understand how far removed these things are, So Guru is not here to solve our material. He will do that if that's what we want. But it's like, you know, you went to a millionaire's house and you came back with $1. You know, like he would have given you $1 million, but you only asked for one. You know, like there's that story of an old lady who's walking through the forest, and she's carrying this big bundle of sticks on her back, and then at some point it falls down, this big bundle of sticks, and she's an old woman, and her back's a little bent, and it's very difficult for her to pick it up again. And so she starts crying and she prays to God, oh, please, God, please help me, please help me. And finally, God comes to her, oh, what can I do for you? I will do anything that I can give you anything that you want. What do you want? And she says, oh, can you please just put this bundle of sticks on my back? He could have given her anything at that time, but she's just living in her tiny little world, and just all she can think of is getting these sticks on her back. But she could have been given anything in that moment. So when we are approaching the Lord and the Guru and the Vaishnavas, we want to remember they are standing for something so infinitely high. No, we should not set our sights so low. No, they're not here to put a band-aid on our material problems, but they're here to give us the nectar of immortality. You know, so there needs to be this distinction. You know, this is my material life that's going on down here, and this is my spiritual aspiration, which is high above. And you know, Guru is here to give me that higher thing. I'll take care of my material problems, you know, on the down low. You know, I don't want to mix these two. I don't want to conflate these two things. You know? So that's what I see as the issue. You know, like if someone needs to take care of their material issues and they're taking help of certain things, then that's okay. But let's not conflate these two things. And that's what can happen sometimes, right? Oh, I was sick and Guru cured my sickness. Like, that's not what Guru is here for. Maybe he, you know, okay, he can do that, but that's not what he's came to give us. You know, that's not the real miracle. You know, there are many miracle men in the world who can do that. You know, but Guru is standing for something so much more than that. So, you know, that's what I would say about that.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else or any of our friends here in the room? We on Tuesdays we have a question and answer session. So if anyone has any questions or answers. And welcome also, Ganga Leela joined us, and Suyash Prabhu from Mauritius, Dana, also Chintamani, you can see Chintamani in the car. You're looking cold, Suyash Prabhu. Isn't it your summertime there?
No, it's winter time there.
Oh, Mauritius is in the southern hemisphere, is it?
Yeah.
Mauritius is on the other side of the year. Jai, Dhandavat, Prabhu. Prabhu, please, I'm sorry, please remind me. Priya Bhakta. You were Pat before, I remember. Priya Bhakta. Okay. Oh, well, I'm honored. We have a few friends here joining. Jadu Gopal and Priya Bhakta. And there's also a few more in the kitchen. So here. Okay. I did have another question, but it was a little convoluted. Let me see. Yes.
I just the part when let me see if I understood it. you equated tolerance to need, like you have you need protection. So sometimes you cannot tolerate some situation and you need some protection. Was this the link between tolerance and protection?
Tolerance and protection. I don't think I made that specific link, but I mean,
you mentioned the
what you said sounds okay.
You mentioned the Tate no Campam verse.
Yes.
And you said sometimes if there is some, like, let's suppose dangerous situation, not dangerous situation, like your guru is in danger, and then you cannot tolerate that situation, and then you have to move. You cannot. So toleration.
I was saying humility. Actually, I said humility there. Yeah, I was just speaking. I was just speaking generally that. I was saying if we apply that principle, right, that the environment is perfect, if we overemphasize that, it brings us to an impersonal position. So, for example, if someone is beating our father and we say, oh, the environment is perfect, then that's not a realistic assessment of the situation. That's impersonal, and that's maladjusted humility. That is not properly adjusted humility. So in that situation, we should be active. We are not doing it for ourselves, but for the protection of someone under my care, for the protection of the Vaishnava, then I have to be active. We are not impersonalists. And so we do not respond passively. That's more like a Mayavad or Buddhist approach, that where you're totally rejecting the environment, but that is not the Vaishnava approach. The Vaishnava approach, the approach of bhakti, of devotion, that entails some initiative at times. There should be some feeling of attachment, and out of that feeling of attachment and love, for the Lord, for the Vaishnavas, the devotees, the saints, then we may have to resist, right? That there's the mayic flow and there's the bhakti flow. There's the current of illusion, right? The current of Maya, which is taking us away from the center. And then there's the current of devotion, which is taking us into the center. And there may have to be some fight sometimes, Srila Sridhar, she says, kirtan means a fight, actually. Kirtan's not just all, strawberries and cream. We're all sitting here, we're all talking about peace and love. Of course, that's also there, but it's not limited to that. Why? Because Srila Sridhar explains, in the world in general, everything's moving towards exploitation. Right? Consumerism, selfishness, exploitation. So if we are standing up and saying, no, we are more than that. Life is for more than that. Actually, everything is for Krishna. Everything is for the center. We exist not to exploit, but to dedicate. Then that's a type of fight. Because you're opposing the status quo. Right? If we're opposing the status quo, that's a type of fight. We're creating resistance. If someone is saying, I want to exercise my senses for my selfish enjoyment, and we say, no, that's not the real purpose of life, then there's a conflict, right? I exist to exploit, and we are opposing that. No, that's not what we are here for. We are dedicating agents, not exploiting agents. Then that's a conflict. That's a disagreement. That's a fight, right? So we are not ones to go and hide in a cave. No, we are not those who will go and hide in a cave and completely renounce the environment. Hare Krishna. But we have some purpose. And in order to, if we want, it's like if people are suffering and you want to help them, then you have to take some action for that. And in order to do that, you may have to fight. There will be people who will go against you. In your mission to do good, there will be surprisingly large amounts of people who will try to oppose you. Like these eco warriors, right? Who are trying to save the environment. Like how many backhanded people, behind are trying to undermine their efforts, right? Like so many, they have to fight to do that. So we are waving the banner of Krishna Bhakti, devotion to Krishna. We are declaring that we exist to love, to serve, to dedicate our supreme loving Lord. That's our declaration. And some persons may consider that a declaration of war. Just like these big companies, we hear about people even getting killed because they're opposing the exploitation of some of these big companies, right? So it's a type of war declaration. You become a threat. If you're saying I stand for love, then people who stand for hate, they will take that as a threat, right? So, we are not sitting passively, but if we are going out in a mood of distribution, then there will be some, what's the word? Some
resistance.
Yeah, there will be some resistance and some throwback. Is that the word? Maybe it's some throwback from the environment, reaction. Yeah, there will be some reaction from the environment. And it can even be seen as a good thing, actually. Like you're doing something, and there will be some feedback. You're trying to do, if you're not doing anything, then you'll never get any response. There won't be any reaction. You won't have any trouble. You won't have any trouble in your life if you sit quietly in your room and do nothing, right? If you just quietly do your 9 to 5 under the covers, don't make any waves, what's that word I came across recently? And it's a name for a person, a disruptor. Have you heard that expression? People who are disruptors, like they have the courage to speak up and say, like, this is wrong. They'll just say it, and everyone else is afraid to say anything. But a disruptor is like that awkward person who has the confidence to be bold and say, no, this is wrong. So we're like disruptors, and some people don't like that. Your version of reality is misconceived. Your version of reality is wrong. And then we become a disruptor when we say that. We are opposing the status quo. So we are not always, we don't want to fight, of course. Our mission is love and peace. But in order to establish love and peace, there have to be some fight, right? And that is how others will perceive it. Like if somebody has some dysfunction, someone has some mental or physical dysfunction, if you're trying to fix that for them, they may see that as a problem, right? If someone has some mental problem, they don't know they have a mental problem. And so if you're trying to help them, they may think you're their enemy, actually, right? I don't know if that answers your question. Dandavat Ramananda Prabhu, and also Bhakti Jim also joined us. What do you think of internet? You're sending a heart.
Yes, like instead of praying passively for protection, sometimes some movement is needed. There is some necessity of movement instead of passively praying for protection. Was that the link between Prabhu's question and? I mean,
in terms of, I think that's maybe a different point. In terms of needing protection, what I was saying is that, like, if we're feeling well, first of all, let's try to understand what is real protection, right? You know very well, right? Real protection means to be protected from the influence of illusion, right? From Maya. That is real protection. No. But if we're feeling under, hey Krishna, so if we're feeling, what I was saying is that if we're feeling fearful, if we are feeling fearful, then to simply, passively try and deny that, that's a little impersonal, isn't it? But rather to approach the Lord for shelter, it's actually the most natural movement of the soul, right? In Prapana Jivanamrita, embracing the Lord's guardianship. This is described as the fundamental mood of surrender, of Sharanagati, to embrace Goptriche Varanam, embracing the Lord's guardianship. This is described as the most fundamental aspect of Sharanagati. So that is, to say, oh, that's like a selfish thing to do, to ask for protection, to ask for shelter. No, that is not correct. That is a very natural movement. But the question is, what are we asking for protection from? What are we asking for help with? Are we asking for material gain or material protection? Then that's okay, but that's on one level. But a higher type of prayer is to be protected from illusion, to be protected from the material energy, to be protected from our own selfishness, to be protected from our own weakness, to be protected from material temptation, all these things. To be protected from I think the point is clear, right? But a higher type of prayer, I was saying, is, oh Lord, keep us under your shelter. Please give us as you see fit. Not that we'll come up with a shopping list, of this, but you please care for me as you see fit, as is best for me. Keeping it within the plane of devotion and surrender. Is that more clear? That was the point that I was making, that if we feel threatened for whatever reason, whether it's materially or spiritually, then and rather than denying that, it is a natural response and a healthy response to pray to the Lord for protection. Maybe the reason we're feeling threatened, it may not be the highest thing. Maybe we're concerned on a physical or mental level. It may not be on a higher spiritual platform. But wheresoever it's coming from, if it's causing us to move closer to the Lord, it's a good thing, right? Maybe we're feeling fearful because we're getting a pay cut, or maybe we're feeling fearful of ghosts, right? We've been talking about ghosts today. So maybe the reason for feeling fearful is more on a material level. But if it inspires us to go towards the Lord, to go towards divinity, then it's a good thing. It's a starting point, right? So wherever we are, make our approach, go towards there. But then our prayer may not be specifically for that material thing, but keep us in your shelter. Please give me the vision. Please give me the proper spiritual vision to deal with this from a spiritual standpoint. Maybe I'm afraid of some material. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my house. Then the highest spiritual prayer may not be, oh God, please give me a house, but oh God, give me the spiritual vision and strength to deal with this in the way that I'm supposed to deal with it. No, let me take this let me learn the lesson I'm supposed to learn, whatever that may be. Give me the strength to do that. That would be a higher standard of prayer. But at the same time, if someone is praying, please give me a house to God, that's still good. They're approaching Krishna, they're approaching God. That's also a good thing. But we're just, as we were saying with Rasaraj Prabhu, that it is natural that there will be different approaches and different ways, different moods. that's fine. But we also want to appreciate some gradation. So if someone is worshiping this deity, another person worshiping that deity, one person is chanting this, making this prayer, another person is making that prayer, it's all good. It's all okay. It's all good. But for those of some finer thinking, then we want to make some distinction. What is the gradation here? What is a finer, higher type of prayer? That is what we're discussing. So, is that more clear? Okay.
Yes, very much.
And welcome to Nahush has also joined us. Yeah.
Bhakti Jim also joined us.
Yes, I was just looking. Bhakti Jim has a picture of the Sokel temple. He's been there. When was that? Oh.
This weekend.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
I was Joelle and I were greeted by Jivana Didi.
Oh, wonderful! How exciting!
It was really sweet. Unfortunately, we were under a time limitation. We had another engagement, and so I didn't get to spend nearly as much time as I wanted. But she made sure. She actually made us 2 plates of prasadam before we left, and I was just ready to just start bawling because.
Yeah, you met the best person you could have possibly met.
And
I'm just going to turn the screen around. These are some of our friends around the world. You're in our Irish. I don't know.
Wow.
See.
Haribol. Oh, Dandavat. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
All glory to the assembled devotees.
Oh, Gangali was also turned.
Jai.
We have Brazil and USA, Mauritius, and Norway.
Wow.
And and across America. And here, well, I'm saying here on the Skype, I mean on the Zoom. Then here we have, these are all from Limerick. we're in Limerick. Okay, well, I think I'm going to end here, maybe end a few minutes early. We're in the middle of a this is the evening program here, so it's been so wonderful, really. And I'm so sad I missed last Tuesday. I was traveling last Tuesday, and I lost my voice this weekend, actually. So I was afraid I was going to miss this Tuesday as well. And it's funny, you know, because last week we were discussing this point, the urge to speak, like how we always have this need to speak unnecessarily, you know, and then I didn't totally lose my voice, but kind of like half. Today it's a lot better, but I couldn't really speak well, and so I was thinking about that point, you know, like when it's difficult to speak, then you really think carefully about what you're going to say, right?
Measure your voice.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just say what's needed and not more, not less, right? And it makes me more conscious of, it made me more conscious of all the things that you blurt out that you didn't really need to say, you know, how many unnecessary things we say, right? Yeah. So, someone had a question. Okay, and it's been answered. Yeah, all the Zooms they're streamed live on Facebook now, and also on the Bhakti Connect channel on YouTube. Yeah. It's the Facebook page is Vishakha. It's facebook.com/Vishakha Dasi 108. But you can Chintamani can give you, I think you have Chintamani's or Chinmoy's contact, they can give you if you want, and the Bhakti Connect channel too. Okay, well, thank you all so much for your wonderful association. It's been so enlivening as always, and grateful for your continued friendship. And next Tuesday, oh gosh, dang it. I have a flight next Tuesday. Why did I do that? Actually, it was BA changed my flight. Now I remember. I had an earlier flight, but they changed it, and it leaves at 5:30. And this meeting is 6 p.m. Oh, darn it. So I'm gonna miss it next Tuesday. Yeah, unfortunately, I won't make it next Tuesday. But the next Tuesday after that, I should. Yeah.
We'll be thinking of you. Lots of blessings on your travels, Vishakha Didi. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll be thinking of all of you as well. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Vaishnava ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Jai, Lord Premanande.
Jai.